Welcome. In today's video, we're installing a Jeep JK bumper from Barnes 4-wheel drive on the front of an XJ. So let's get into it. The bumper we're bolting to the front of the XJ is the Jeep JK Pritchett Canyon front bumper from Barnes 4-wheel drive, and we're going to be using the XJ and MJ front bumper adapter brackets for JK bumpers that are also from Barnes 4-wheel drive. It should be a pretty straightforward install, so let's go over the parts real quick and then we'll get to installing it on the Jeep. So checking out the bumper, it does come to you in raw steel, so I had to go get it powder coated at a local shop. But it is set up for a winch and also lights on each end over here. It does have some holes for lights, so you could add whatever light pods that you want on there. And then it does have the winch plate, and on the back side it just has the 4 studs to mount the adapter brackets to, or to bolt to the frame of your JK. But it is pretty lightweight compared to my previous front bumper, and I should have a way better approach angle compared to that bumper also. Checking out the adapter brackets, they bolt right to the back side of the bumper through there, and then they are slotted, so you can have some adjustability along with these holes on the back side. So if you want to tuck the bumper really close into your front grille, if you're not running a winch, it'll just give you more clearance and better approach angle. And then if you're running a winch, it gives you that adjustability, so you could have it tucked up close to your grill as much as possible or as far out as possible. And these also come shipped in bare steel, so I had to get them powder coated also. Before I install the brackets in the front bumper on the front of the Jeep, I have a little bit of cleanup to do. I have some surface rust where the previous bumper was, so I'm going to hit that with a grinder and throw a fresh coat of paint on the entire front of the Jeep, just to make it nicer and protect it for the future. And then I need to rerun my wire that goes to my transmission cooler. So I'll get that knocked out real quick, then we'll get to bolting all this on. All right, I rerouted the wire underneath the trans cooler, and I double zip tied it in place. That's what I usually do. I just double zip tie it in certain spots to keep it nice and tight, just in case a zip tie breaks while it's being held in place. At least you have a backup. But I ran it all the way up top to the aux beam, and I should have zero issues with it, and it is out of the way. The next step is I'm going to clean up the sides of the unibody with the grinder, get all this surface rust off. Then I'm going to put a coat of paint on the entire front. Then from there, we'll be installing brackets. All right, so this is my plan. With the slots in the front bumper brackets being bigger than the bolts, you have some adjustability. So they slide back and forth on these bolts, so you could get everything nice and tight on there. So my plan is to, once this paint fully dries, is I'm going to bolt these bumper brackets to the body, because these 2 slots go for these 2 bolt holes, and then this back slot, or one of these 3 back slots, goes in here for one of the bolts that they provide along with the front bolts. They provide all that hardware. So that is my plan, is to bolt these to the body first, and then I'll be able to reach in there and bolt the bumper to the brackets. But I just got to let this paint dry for a little bit longer, and then I'll bolt it all up, and we'll see how it looks and adjust it accordingly. So I had to run to my local hardware store real quick and get some longer bolts. These are the ones that are supplied with the bumper, but I had to get these because on the Jeep I have the front behind the bumper stiffener, and then a 3/16 unibody stiffener for the front. So with this being pretty thick, this bolt that came with the kit was not able to fully go through, or was able to fully go through, but I was not able to get all of the threads for the nylock nut. So I bought some longer bolts. So we are in business. I'm going to start bolting these brackets on to the Jeep. Once they are fully bolted on and tight, then we could get the bumper on. Well, I got the brackets mounted. So I got them mounted on the front part and then the large bolt going through the rear. I do not have a bolt to go through this part, so I will have to get a bolt and some washers at a later date to finish that up. But it looks like there's 4 mounting holes each side for the brackets, and you do not need those brackets that came with the front bumper, so you should be good to go if you're mounting this on an XJ or a Comanche. Other than that, as you can see or possibly know, I do not have a winch because I sold my old Smittybilt front and rear bumper. I decided to include the winch on the deal, and I'm gonna get a new winch. But in the meantime, I put the brackets as far back as possible just to tuck the front bumper up real tight to the grill, just so it looks pretty good until I get a new winch. So that's kind of the plan. Just mount this bumper, put it as tight to the front of the grill as possible so I have a good approach angle. And then once I get a winch, I will push out the bumper just a little bit to make up for it. I'm not entirely sure which winch I want to get. I'm thinking a Warn, just because, you know, I figure it looked pretty good on the front of the Cherokee with the new bumper and everything. But it will take me a little while to get it. But as you can see, there's the 2 front bolts, the rear bolt, the 4th bolt that would go through right there, and then here is your steering box bolts. So they do not tie in. I guess if I had just one suggestion to Barnes for these brackets, you should just make the bracket larger to cover this whole area. So then your steering box bolts will add to it. And you know, you have 3 more mounting points for a little bit of extra security, and it stays tighter onto the unibody. But other than that, we are good to go. I am going to mount the front bumper on the Jeep, and let's see how it turns out. All right, let's mount this bumper. All right, it's obviously on there. I got to put all of the washers and the nuts on there to get it mounted. But this is where we are at. I'm gonna double check it to make sure it's fully pressed in there, and then we could get it tightened up. We are good to go. The bumper is fully installed. Got all the bolts tightened on the back. Everything is tight and good to go. And I love it. As you can see with the tubes on it, they're about the same size, if not slightly bigger than the rock sliders. So those definitely match. And this is the new look I'm going for with the Cherokee. But it is fully installed. It is a heck of a lot lighter than the Smittybilt bumper I had on there, and I think I got more ground clearance. Could be wrong, but I do definitely have more clearance up here, or approach angle, to climb rocks while wheeling, and it looks great with that black powder coating. It definitely matches the rock sliders, and I can't wait to get a winch in this thing. It is missing one small thing, the little action figure, and I'm not too sure where I'm gonna put him. I'll figure that out, but yeah, I'm definitely Gonna get a winch for this front bumper with some synthetic line. And then the lights that were on the Smittybilt bumper, one of the LEDs in one of the pods is going dim, so I need to warranty that out with KC. And I hope they give me the same lights that are on the roof rack up there. If so, they'll be on the front bumper with the brand new Warn winch. Looking awesome. But I am extremely happy with this. I love how this thing looks. We are good to go. The bumper is fully installed. Got all the bolts tightened on the back. Everything is tight and good to go. And I love it. As you can see with the tubes on it, they're about the same size, if not slightly bigger than the rock sliders. So those definitely match. And this is the new look I'm going for with the Cherokee. But it is fully installed. It is a heck of a lot lighter than the Smittybilt bumper I had on there. And I think I got more ground clearance. Could be wrong, but I do definitely have more clearance up here, or approach angle, to climb rocks while wheeling. And it looks great with that black powder coating. It definitely matches the rock sliders. And I can't wait to get a winch in this thing. It is missing one small thing, the little action figure, and I'm not too sure where I'm gonna put him. I'll figure that out, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a winch for this front bumper with some synthetic line. And then the lights that were on the Smittybilt bumper, one of the LEDs in one of the pods is going dim, so I need to warranty that out with KC. And I hope they give me the same lights that are on the roof rack up there. If so, they'll be on the front bumper with the brand new Warn winch. Looking awesome. Well, the bumper is installed and I'm extremely happy with it. I like the approach angle when it comes to either side or even in the front. It gives me a lot more angle compared to my previous bumper, and I like the weight savings too on it, just for, you know, keeping the motor happy and everything. I love how it looks with the sliders and the flat black, you know, the powder coat and the spray paint on the sliders, and I can't wait to throw on the rear bumper when I get it. And I love how adjustable it is. You know, just loosen a few bolts, slide it forward, tighten it up, and you can easily fit whatever winch you want in there. But I think we have one last thing to do before ending the video, and I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. But I think we got to mount this guy on the bumper just like with the old one.